The Croods is about a family of cavemen whose lives consist of hiding in a dark, cramped cave for days on end and only coming out to hunt. Grug, played by Nicolas Cage, has taught his family that anything new or different is to be feared, and they've survived while all of the cavemen around them have perished because of their father's rules. But Eep, played by Emma Stone, is tired of the cave and tired of doing the same thing day after day. One day everything changes as the world around them starts to crumble as the continent Pangea starts to split and their cave is destroyed in the process. They're forced to venture out where everything is new and everything is dangerous. There they meet Guy, a more advanced troglodyte who convinces them that the only way to survive is to keep heading towards a distant mountain. It's a story about family and change and trying new things. There was a moment or two towards the beginning of this movie when I was a bit concerned. From what I've seen so far, The Croods is about Dreamwork's only shot at having a good film this year. Yeah, I know Turbo hasn't come out yet. Don't really care, it looks pretty stupid. Anyways, towards the beginning, there's a lengthy scene where the Croods are trying to hunt and it drags out a bit and is obviously there to take advantage of the 3D. The fact that it's one of the first things you see doesn't help. However, once that was over, the film seemed to find its groove and I started to enjoy it, so let's talk about all of the Croods' strengths. Whatever flaws Dreamworks has, I've always admired how different their character design is compared to, say, Disney. In a Disney movie about cavemen, Eep probably would have looked like a supermodel. The characters in this movie are fun. Some of the most entertaining parts are in the middle of the film when the Croods basically take Guy hostage and you see his reaction to their, well, prehistoric behavior. It makes for a lot of really funny moments, and then it's enjoyable to watch as the characters grow. The holdout being, of course, Grug, who gets more and more upset as his family takes to Guy. Still, despite at times maybe being a bit cliche, the characters do have a nice arc and are all pretty likable. Even the little sidekick characters like Belt are awesome, who is for some reason voiced by Chris Sanders, despite the fact that most of his lines consist of dun dun dun. Another thing it has going for it is the movie's sense of humor. This film is a lot of fun. There are some groaners, and yes, there are pop culture references, but there's enough good humor to forgive it for some of the bad. The film also looks great. A lot of the design on the creatures and landscape is really creative and different. It's not in the least bit accurate to the time period, surprise surprise, but the creatures are really creative and interesting and the landscape is strange and gorgeous. So what are the downsides? Well, for starters, apart from being entertaining, I don't think this film has the depth of something like How to Train Your Dragon, or even Rise of the Guardians. There's actually a scene about 10 to 15 minutes towards the end that nearly raised this movie's score at least 1 point higher for me because I thought they might actually end it at that moment, and I was genuinely impressed. It would have been a pretty damn good ending, somewhat bittersweet and a bit sad, but good. Still, the film kept going, almost making that scene kind of pointless, and the actual ending felt sort of rushed and a bit over the top and cheesy. On that note, maybe it would have been better if the movie hadn't tried to get very emotional at all, as some of the touching scenes, especially towards the end, felt a little out of place in tone with the rest of the film. Still, it's fun enough so that I do recommend seeing it. Certainly not a bad way to spend an hour and a half of your time. It's not the masterpiece I keep hoping for from Dreamworks, but it's at least good for a laugh.
Shoes.
I love them! Where are my feet?
Dreamworks, The Croods.